Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As you can see by the title of today's video, we're here to show the #1 meta center build in NBA 2K23, but with another twist as well. As I mentioned in the previous video, we'll be showcasing the builds that I also use for my team. So for instance, right here, we have my build on display at the small forward position. And then for today's video, we're also going to be showcasing Tonic's build, where our team plays a little bit different. We have an inside center that's literally 6'9", but plays as an on-ball defender, but our 5 contributes way more in a post-scoring option at out the corner as well. But first and foremost, we're going to showcase the #1 meta center build that everybody uses in 2K23 when it comes to comp pro-am. So I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you do, to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on the noties, all the good stuff, and like always, try to 2,000 likes. So to get straight into this, as you can see, we have the 7-2 with the center. This build is really like souped, man. It's crazy how many things you can actually have on this. You wouldn't even think that it's truly just an outside popper when you look at the ratings like this. 77 3-pointer, 80 driving dunk for the quick drops off 1. You have 80 standing dunk that gives you the pro big man contacts. We'll talk about that when we get into it as well. But as you can see, 7'2", 231 in the weight, 8-foot wingspan. But anyway, here's what you're looking at right here. So you want to be used as a pick and roll or pick and popper when it comes to this. You could also modify this build a little bit and make it a non-shooter. And generally, this is what you're going to see some people do as well. Joe knows it listed especially for sure, because a lot of you guys maybe saw him in our wager that we did a couple weeks ago. He was on a 7'2" inside. But I will say, personally, I don't really feel like it's that much of a difference between this build and the inside version. I mean, what are we really missing right here that would be nice to have besides maybe some more standing dunk up to 90? Besides that, the close shot is good. The driving dunk is as good as it's going to get. The driving lay doesn't quite as much matter. We just have this for a badge point. And then realistically, post control doesn't matter that much either when it comes to using it as a pro-am like center. Maybe more so for rec center, I do understand, but for pro-am, this stuff is not going to matter to you that much. So anyway, we then have the 77 3-pointer for the badge point, 63 as well, gives you that badge point, and then 72 free throws should be plenty hittable. I hit with a 50 at 82%. I'm sure a lot of you guys would be fine, considering LakerFan is not the best shooter in this game by any means either. 76 pass ac, that actually is probably the one thing that you would gain off being an inside, is that you have more attribute points to spend on the pass accuracy, for instance, which could put you to 86, which I will say does go a long way for the break starter passes. So if you do want to make that modification, like I said, the 2 meta center builds that you will see are going to be 7-2 and 7-2. It's just an inside versus an outside, and that's really the only debatable thing that you even have at that point. 76 pass ac though, as you can see, like I said, that LeBron James pass style for 75, then also the gold break starter at 76. This is still a respectable level though. Do trust that 100%. So if you're dead set on being a popper, the 76 pass ac is plenty fine. The only other thing that you'll probably see builds use more so on the inside is going to be maybe a little bit more interior D, but that's very unlikely. It's probably just between pass accuracy and block, and then a little bit more standing dunk. So whether you value this 3-pointer at 77 enough to maybe, for instance, if you were to drop this off, we'll just showcase it. And obviously, as you can see, we're going to have to put the close shot up to 85 as well still, which is going to force your mid-range up, unfortunately. But as you can see, these are the direct upgrades you get for literally just dropping that 3-pointer off, and then the mid-range as low as you can put it without the close shot going down. So for instance, as you can see, we don't quite have the 90 standing dunk yet, but it will come eventually. So with this, you would go too higher on the standing dunk. We'll just have to take something off, for instance, like maybe some vertical, or maybe like 1 strength, a little bit of stamina, something like that. You could penny pinch here and there, however you would like to. But as you can see, we do have the 99 block and the 86 pass ac off that. It does force your ball handle up with it, so just keep that in mind. And again, this is not me labbing it perfectly or anything like that. Long story short, you can make your penny pinches here and there wherever you would like to between Prim D maybe. I would suggest Prim D and Steel to stay as high as possible though. I am quite a big fan of that, to be honest with you guys. But as you can see, we just dropped the free throw off by 2, put the stamina to like 92. I'm not a huge fan of this myself, but I know other people out there watching this don't really care that much about their stamina being like in the 90s and stuff like that. Regardless though, as you can see, 90 standing dunk is what you want to shoot for. If you're going to be an inside big, you want those elite contact dunks as well on the standings. You still need 75 vert to keep that, so just keep that in mind as well. We still want that 76 strength for the silver brick wall on top of that too, and you don't want to take away from your speed at all. So as you can see, the offensive rebound is 99 for the sole purpose of, as a defensive rebounder, you just need to get box out positioning, and it's about as simple as that. It's definitely easier to grab the D boards than it is O boards, and O boards you do want more on it. But low-key, if you would like to, offensive rebound is just as expensive as defensive rebound, so what you could do, you could put your O board down to 84 and put your D board up to 99, and then boom, you could still solve the exact same problem, just flipping the rebounds. But this type of revision that I'm doing right here, I would only suggest that you do on a popper build, where you're going to be a lot more of like a 3-point heavy build that maybe you don't care quite as much about the offense rebounds because you're not going to be around them as much. On a 7-2 inside, I would never suggest to flip this rebound rating like this, where you go with the 84 on the offensive and the 99 on the defensive. It makes way more sense to do it like this, because as an inside build, you're going to be around the rim a whole lot more, whether it's off pick and rolls, sitting like and camping the block on just maybe your point guard isoing, stuff like that, or just in general on your pick and roll takes that you have near the hoop. And obviously you're going to be just near the basket in general. So this is maybe along the lines of what I would suggest for the inside build. For the takeovers that you're going to get on this, it's really about as basic as this. We'll showcase real quick the takeover options on the popper build though. And as far as this one goes, all it's really doing is adding sharp takes. So as you can see, you get sharp rim and glass. Honestly, I would still suggest for pretty much any build you're playing the 5 in Pro-Am to run the box out wall and paint intimidation or the stuff blocks. As a 5 in Pro-Am, you're literally just playing corner defense. You're going to drop when you're needed for the rotations, drop when you're needed for the rebounds. So to run box out wall, especially as a 5-2 when you're in the pick and roll situation, box out wall works so good for worms. It works good for box outs in general. And I just think it's probably the best takeover you could run as a big man, especially at the 5 in Pro-Am. If you do want to run sharp take though, I would recommend to do it primary. I don't think it ever makes sense to run secondary sharp take. I believe secondary is what you should have to boost your takeover progress more than anything. And with rim take, it absolutely goes crazy for that. When you get blocks on this build, I promise you, with the Hall of Fame anchor or gold anchor, whatever you're going to do with it between the popper or the inside, it's still going to go super crazy for your takeover progress, and pairing rim take on top of that too goes so hard. So real quick, what we're going to do before we get to Tonic's build, and shout out to Tonic, I'm going to leave his link or maybe just pin his comment if that happens to be how it goes about it easier. I'll just do whatever it takes to get some love to Tonic because his build is so cool. We did work on it together and I did chip in about half of his build too. Alright, so as you can see, we're getting into the badge ladder right here. We're going to go from finishing to shooting, playmaking, and defense. Then we'll get to Tonic's build after. I want to talk first and foremost about the whole badge loadouts between the tier 3s for finishing and shooting especially. So let's start with shooting because I think it's the thing that's really weighing most on my mind right here. So as you can see, we only have 12 shooting badges, but everybody who plays this game at least gets +4. So with that +4, if you invest all 4 into shooting, you actually could get silver catch and shoot, as you can see, because then it would be 16 badge points and you need to spend at least 10 between tier 1 and tier 2. So after doing so, then you would have enough to be able to core silver catch and shoot as well for that matter. And then you could even still run another tier 3 if you really would like, between maybe like bronze limitless or maybe you want bronze deadeye. I would probably more so suggest to just run the silver catch and shoot cord right here and then pretty much just run everything else that we have. And mind you, we would have 4 extra shooting badge points, so essentially I'd be able to run Silver Claymore right here without even core badging it, because as you can see, if we added 4 more, it would allow us to run that Claymore. What you could do probably is just take the Agent 3 off after that, simple as that, and then boom, that would allow you to run the gold Claymore, as you can see, because if we add +4, once again, it would be enough to run this. And that's after core badging, say, for instance, catch and shoot. It's just I can't visually core badge it right now because we don't have the badge points for that. So just keep that in mind. But that's at least my vision on shooting, so to say. So we'll just leave it as that. As far as the finishing goes, we don't have enough finishing badge points to be able to run Rise Up, Masher, and Fast Twitch. Now, if you did go with, say, for instance, the double finishing core badge where it takes away a shooting core, you could eventually just run catch and shoot straight up, simple as that, and maybe take off, for instance, blinders and amped. And then at that point, then you'd still be able to run, for instance, catch and shoot right here with extra badge points. But obviously that would affect your shooting as far as, like, for instance, having to take off the core badge for that. And obviously we can't core catch and shoot if that's the case, or even for that matter, core, like, say, for instance, Claymore. But if you were able to do this, it would allow you to run Rise Up as well. So then you'd be looking at Fast Twitch, Masher, and Rise Up. I'm not a big fan of Bully personally, plus we only would get it on bronze of this build anyway, so it is what it is. But as you can see, other than that, we have the bronze poster, the bronze slithery, and then the silver limitless takeoff. This is all just to help you make the quick drops in general. You're not really getting much driving contact dunks. You don't really have the ability to dunk meter in general, like to get contacts, obviously, on a driving one. Because at the end of the day, we can't really get 84 driving dunk for the pro contacts. Can't really get silver poster or anything like that. So it kind of just is what it is. Not to mention I have to burn some useless finishing badge point right here on post spin technician. So, I don't know. Honestly, the finishing is not ideal. The gold fearless finisher is plenty, though, combined with gold masher. Or, if you're not really interested in the mashing ability anyway, or you think you won't activate this enough because generally you're going to be running into maybe 6'9" power forwards and stuff like that, which, yes, it will activate on, but maybe not to the elite level that you would like. Or, it'll be 7'3", 7'2" centers just dropping into the paint. whatever you want to do between masher or rise up. I would probably prefer masher with a build like this though. We only have 82 standing dunk at the end of the day. If you go with the inside though, I would definitely prefer for you to run that gold rise up. It makes a lot of sense to do. Aside from that though, moving along, as you can see with the playmaking, we actually don't have very much to spend on this at all. We're just core badging, gold break starter, simple as that. Aside from that, you got bronze vice grip and bronze bailout, about as simple as that. And after that, all we can run is tier 1 badges at really the max rate that we can. So mismatch expert obviously does not work on a 7'2" for that matter, and just in general doesn't even work for small guards. So why would you ever run it on this? And as you can see, we have the bronze clamp breaker, the silver floor general, and then the silver special delivery. That's about all you're gonna be able to get on this build. We don't have enough playmaking to core badge a tier 3 or even just run a tier 3 in general. So at the end of the day, all you're really missing out on is dimer, needle threader, and post playmaker, which is not even that big a loss with the only level which that you can even run them at being silver or gold for post playmaker. But moving on to the defense, as you can see, we have a pretty decent loadout right here if you ask me. Silver brick wall for the screen setting, you got gold anchor, you're looking at core badging Hall of Fame rebound chaser. We're also running Hall of Fame chase down and box out beast as well. In my opinion, chase down is pretty nice for the 5s in the corner as well. I do very much so believe it activates on drops from corner to paint as long as it's the right angle and you're going for it in the right way. But either way, if you maybe wanted to run workhorse at a super high level, if you're a huge believer in it, you could go ahead and do so. I personally don't believe it's so necessary for a build like this though. I think really the only thing I prefer workhorse on is small guards who need to use it to track down long rebounds, because that's the only way to contribute to the rebounding in the first place, is to not even tap their Y button in general, or for lockdowns that get a lot of pluck steals and just bump steals in general and you got to track down the balls. So I don't think you need that. You obviously don't need pick dodger either. Challenger, glove, and interceptor are just the basic tier 1s that you only get them at anyway. And other than that, I don't really think you even need to run any extra defensive badges. I don't think pogo stick is necessary on a build this tall or with this great of interior defense and block in general. So I think you're good from there. I think you really just could go with the extra shooting to be able to get that catch and shoot. It's about as simple as that. And then boom, it gives you this decent core badge to run as well. But anyway, now let's get to Tonic's build. This is one of the coolest builds in the game, if you ask me. The ability to run play take on an outside center that is really more of a spot up and post scoring option. I will say though, it's not quite as much of a post score as other builds. This is really meant to be functioned as a good dropper, a good rebounder, and just in general can provide an offense, but not exactly in the post scoring niche way that everybody else would with their LT held to the back to the basket type stuff. He is more of a mid-range shot creator, so to say, or even obviously just good corner spot up in general, with a maxed out amount of shooting right here, 80 mid, 79 three-pointer. If you wanted to go for that 81 or 82 mid-range, you obviously could do this, but at the end of the day, you would then be losing out on, for instance, the 94 defensive rebound. And if you ended up doing that as well, you would lose the 70 steal rating, not to mention you'd have to up the weight right here, which does lose the speed. So a lot of these things are kind of like just rationed out in the perfect way, so to say, and unfortunately you're not going to get that Hall of Fame midi magician. You do get space creator though, I will say, so that's at least something you can consider doing. But nonetheless, this is what we're looking at right here. 221 on the weight, 7'10 wingspan, and 7 foot. So again, if you want to go with that 7'9 wingspan for the 81 82 mid-range, you could absolutely do that. Like I said though, you do still have the Hall of Fame space creator with the 80 mid-range. Not to mention gold midi magician is not that bad. It would be nice to run Hall of Fame though, obviously at the 81, but it is what it is. Anyway, you're definitely running that bronze agent 3. We'll talk about the badges when we get there, but as you can see, 86 driving dunk for the gold limitless takeoff, sorry. And then as you can see, we also get slithery in tier 1 as well. Posterizer tier 2, this build functions amazingly out the corner when it comes to the catch, run, and shoot or catch, run, and dunk ability. And then obviously you can still turn your back to the basket even if you have no post control. Trust me, I see Tonic do it plenty. We go to him when it's more of a liability on him between either a center who can't obviously steal the ball from him or a point guard maybe is guarding him in the corner. So either way, they both have super low steal rating. Just keep that in mind, especially for the comp pro-am situations. So nonetheless, I think post control is plenty fine to have at a low level. 86 driving dunk and then 71 standing dunk is plenty enough to still contribute as a cutter, in my opinion. It's definitely good, and then also paired with the 86 driving dunk goes so hard for that. Close shot rating is a little bit bad, but at the end of the day, it's meant to be a catch and dunk as soon as you catch it on a cut. Simple as that. So as you can see, we have 20 shooting badges as well, and also the 11 finishing is plenty fine. It's 3 between limitless takeoff, and then 2 extra for slithery, so that's 5, and then you have 4 for posterizer. So at that point, you're looking at pretty much everything you need. maybe some bronze fearless finisher and bronze acrobat after that. As far as the shooting goes though, as you can see, 79 3-pointer, really nice for this extra badge point. If corner specialist ever becomes a necessary thing to run too, you could obviously have that as well. But 80 mid-range gets you that gold green machine as well as the Hall of Fame Space Creator. You're going to want both of those when playing like this, especially if you do go for something where maybe you don't even core badge of finishing. Because honestly, the only thing that's worth core badging and finishing is probably posterizer. But at that point, all it really gets you that you could run is probably Aerial Wizard or something like that too. I mean, a lot of these are not worth running besides the really important ones like the Limitless Takeoff, Slithery, and then the Posterizer as well. So I think you could absolutely go with the core badge loadout that runs double shooting and no finishing. That's what Tonic is eventually going to do on his build as well. And with that, you could run a lot of things, man. You could run the Silver Catch and Shoot. You could run the Claymore, Green Machine, Blinders, Clutch Shooter, Amped, all types of stuff, Mini Magician, Space Creator as well. It goes hard, man. It really does. And then also 80 free throw to chip in as well. So what this build also contributes is the 86 pass accuracy. Now he did put extra badge points on for the playmaking so that he could get core needle threader or core dimer if he really wants. I think a decent way about going with it though is to maybe just core badge break starter on Hall of Fame anyway, and then you could just run silver vice grip, gold bailout. You could run, for instance, the Hall of Fame floor general as well, clamp breaker, handles for days on the bronze. If you do want to go with that needle threader core though, it does still allow you to run a lot of decent playmaking badges. We'll get to that when we talk about the badge loadouts. But anyway, 26 defense. As you can see, we have 79 interior defense, 70 steal rating, a little bit of a threshold if you ask me, not to mention the 69 prim D. You want to be able to still hold your own if you get put into pick and roll offense, because with this build, even if you do drop into the paint, it's possible they bring the center back up into the pick and roll, and it's maybe not as easy to quote unquote hyper switch where you would move back to the corner instantly and your pick and roll like backside defender like the power forward would just switch back into the pick and roll instantly. It's not always that easy if you run rotations like triangle and stuff like that. Sometimes you want to still be able to hold your own in the prim D and the backside defense, in which case 69 prim D and 77 speed is plenty enough to still hold your own in that. It's not going to be great, but it is still like decent and obviously good. 70 steal rating too, I can vouch. Tonic looks really good on this build playing lanes. And then also, as you can see, 99 block, 94 D board for the Hall of Fame box out beast and the gold rebound chaser, and then again 99 block for the Hall of Fame anchor. It's going to be something you can core right here as well for the Hall of Fame points, 8 points right back in. And really the whole purpose of this build is to be a dropper and a really good rebounder. So it's literally as simple as you're dropping for shot blocks, you're dropping for rebounds, and then on offense you contribute in a really original way. Now you may be looking at this and you're like, why would you invest into 35 speed with ball? What's the point in that? You could just go with the acceleration super high up and an extra stamina or something. As you can see, we lose out on a specific takeover. Now let me show you what that specific takeover is. So as you can see, we're gonna drop that acceleration back to 65, drop that stamina back to 97, and as you're gonna see with the 35 speed with ball, it is just enough to get play take. Me and Tonic were labbing this for so freaking long, it's not even funny. Let's just give you an example. If you say, for instance, maybe take that like speed with ball down to 34, you lose out on the play take again. It's crazy how specific and niche that is, but realistically, it was something that we both really wanted to see his build have, because we saw how powerful that team takeover boost is, and let me tell you, man, I think this is a crazy addition to have on your 5. It is so cool that he can run this takeover combo right here between a rim take secondary and his play take primary. When he gets this play take for us, we go so crazy on takeover, it's not even funny. Between me, AK, our shooting guard, even our lockdown as well. And then to pair with the fact that our team has accelerator too, 1 through 4, or at least 4 of our guys at all times, that is a crazy addition to be had, man. And I just think this is one of the coolest center builds to fit my build and my team. So just want to show you guys the badge loadouts, but real quick, we'll just go and kind of recap everything for one last time. 77 speed is really good. I do wish his acceleration could be a little bit higher, but as you can see, it's going to be kind of hard to get reasonably. If you're a big believer in the low stamina type stuff for builds, I guess you could go with that. Not to mention if you maybe are okay with the lower free throw, maybe you don't care quite as much about certain badge points between extra standing dunk, or maybe you, for instance, don't even care about offense rebounding that much because it's more of a post score option and you're going to be doing a lot of post hooking and stuff like that anyway. You could debatably drop that and then boom, get your stamina back, maybe get like your strength up to like 76 or something, where you could get the brick wall obviously at silver if you plan to play on this as maybe as more of a center build for that matter even too. It's up to you how you adjust it. I just wanted to showcase to you guys what the actual build looked like though. So we're going to go back into that and go ahead and show you the badge loadouts as well. But again, one last look at it. Here are all the upgrades that you have. 7 foot, 221 in the weight, 7'10 wingspan. And then the great badge loadout if you ask me. It fits our team so freaking good. Alright, so here are the badge loadouts. As you can see, we're going to go ahead and refrain from core badging and finishing because I just want to talk about the potential of running the loadout where you don't have a finishing core badge and you run the double shooting, because this could look so cool. But for the sake of if you did go for a finishing core badge, it would probably be as simple as just core posterize and then run silver aerial wizard. Or if you find it that convenient to maybe grind for the aerial wizard in my career, you could easily do that by just catching the off-ball lobs like I've mentioned in a lot of videos as far as the methods. So you could do something like that, but honestly, it's not really worth for a lot of the badge points that you can see. You only have 11 finishing, so it makes a lot of sense to just refrain from really even running a finishing core badge at all. So if you do run the double shooting core badge, as you can see, you could get silver blinders or gold green machine as well cored, or even the gold claymore. But I wanted to introduce you guys to this loadout a little bit because Tonic ditched green machine entirely on his build when we were running the Joe Knows wager, and we literally ran him on stuff like this, where he had Claymore, Space Creator, Volume Shooter, Clutch Shooter, Mini Magician, Agent 3, all that stuff, and just literally took Green Machine off. Simple as that. So what you could do, debatably, if you decide to go with the double shooting core badge, as you can see, you could gold Green Machine core right here for 5 points back in, and then at that point you just get it for free. You can run all these badges right here as well. Now let's say maybe for instance you don't care quite as much about Volume Shooter, maybe you could take Clutch Shooter down to silver. At that point then you can run the silver blinders, and as you can see, you can just pop Green Machine on. Simple as that on a core, and it's a really easy core badge to get. Same with Catch and Shoot is as well, and as you can see, this is for 6 points, so you definitely want that compared to anything else. And this goes hard, man. This is a really good loadout right here to run. So whatever you would like, between not running Green Machine for instance, or maybe you just are okay with running something like this as well, or if you still don't even run Green Machine as far as another core badge and maybe you want a core badge Claymore instead, as you can see, you could invest all those points into Volume Shooter and Clutch Shooter instead. So it's up to you how much you care about Green Machine. The reason I suggest to Tonic to not run Green Machine is he's our chuck guy a little bit. So we throw the ball to him on late shot clock situations. It's better for him maybe to just not run Green Machine at all, because he's going to end up with a lot of misses as the game kind of goes on, or missable shots, I should say. He actually still makes a lot of the tough ones in general, but it's just maybe a smarter investment to run other things than Green Machine, because again, you're gonna be a little bit more of a chucking shots kind of guy. With a build like this, it's kind of nice to run things like Volume Shooter when you put so many shots up in a game, or Clutch Shooter because we may go to you in late game situations a whole lot more than for instance maybe early on in the games. But nonetheless, this is what we're looking at for the shooting. It's a great amount, and I think it's a really respectable way of playing as well. It's so cool and original on top of that as well. But anyway, for the playmaking, it's very simple. Just core badging, break starter, about as simple as that. And then you run the vice grip, bailout, clamp breaker, floor general, and then hit us for days. Now, if you would like to, however, maybe say for instance, not core badge break starter, and let's say maybe you go for putting Hall of Fame break starter on still, yet want it to core needle threader. As you can see, you would have to invest at least 2 extra playmaking in. If you invest 3 playmaking in, you could then get Hall of Fame Dimer or Post Playmaker cord as well. So whatever you like to do, I would probably suggest at least 2 playmaking badges just to feel comfortable in maybe core badging needle threader. It would insist that you're not running any vice grip though, or maybe your bailout is, say for instance, I don't know, bronze, or actually I guess what you could do if you're a little bit of a selfish player is you could just take the floor general off, as you can see, and then run the needle threader. I will say though, as a 5, it's really cool and really convenient with this level of pass accuracy that you have as well to be able to run floor general for your team. We're talking team pro-am at the end of the day with this video. With rec center, maybe you could just, for instance, take the floor general off and run the silver vice grip if you're a little bit more of a selfish player and you don't really care about your teammates, because it is just rec at the end of the day. But again, you want at least 2 extra playmaking badges on your build to be able to get that gold needle threader cord if you want to run something like this. Or just keep in mind, you could run this loadout right here where you have the Hall of Fame break starter cord, and then you still have vice grip, bailout, clamp breaker, Hall of Fame floor, and then bronze handles for days as well. You just don't have the needle threader. So it's up to you how you want to go about that stuff. Needle threader would be nice though. It definitely cuts out on your potential turnovers. Tonic runs that himself as well and just doesn't run vice grip. At the end of the day in team pro-am, honestly bro, if people reach on you, I actually just saw the first time ever tonight where he actually lost the ball without taking a dribble or anything like that off a rebound, where someone just went for some fluky X button steal. And honestly, I think it's the worst idea to do as a team. He probably did the exact same thing I do when I do it, where I cringe when I hit X button off someone else getting off a defensive rebound, because it leads to transition take fouls if you do reach him, and it happens really often. I'm gonna be honest, it is very rare that you lose that ball. So I'm not even a huge fan of vice grip for team pro-am. Maybe rec center, but even at that, I still think it's not that valuable of a badge. I'm gonna be real with you. But anyway, moving along to the defense. As you can see, we have pretty much everything that you would ever need. The only thing you could debatably add is maybe pogo stick, and if you were content with this level of shooting as far as that goes, you could run the double defense core instead as well and get that pogo stick on Hall of Fame, as you can see, on another core. But even without the double defense core, I think this is plenty fine. The gold rebound chaser, the Hall of Fame anchor cord, we got the Hall of Fame chase down and box out beast as well, gold workhorse, and then also the challenger glove, interceptor, off ball pest on bronze. I think this is a great defensive loadout. The whole build in general is a really fun, really original, and just great build overall. So anyway, man, that's all for the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on noties, all that good stuff. And like always, try to win 2,000 likes. If you made it to the end of the video, put tonic or put big in the comments to support me all the way through. But like I said, I'm gonna be leaving tonic link in either the description, the pinned comments, or I will pin his comment on the video as well. He can leave some witty stuff that you guys can find funny or something like that. But anyway, that's all for the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. And stay tuned for the other ones. We'll obviously be dropping the power forward and shooting guards one pretty soon. If you want to check out the point guard or small forward one, aka the lockdown, you can check that out as well. But hope you guys are enjoying this little series that we have right here. It's meant to put you on to the best builds in the game as far as what everybody else runs, but also introduce you to what our team runs in general and show you every position at a very like nitty-gritty way of showing all the details, not to mention the badge loadouts that we at least try to run or the potential loadouts that you could run. So hope y'all enjoy. None of that. That's all for the video. Take these, man. Peace.